And a wise poet once said, "Boy toy named Troy used to live in Detroit." I'm sorry, I get a little emotional reading this one. Big money. He was getting some coins. Was in shootouts with the law, but he lived in a palace. Bought me Anne Alexander McQueen. He was keeping me stylish. Now that's real. So beautiful. Our Lady Minaj.
Oh my god. And welcome back to episode 31 of Crips and Corks. I'm your host, DJ, here with my co-host,
Paul, as usual.
What the... What?
You've never seen that video of that guy reading it to his class in English and he reads it all emotional?
Oh my god. No, I haven't.
I love Nicki Minaj's song. Like, I know she's canceled, but I love Anaconda still to this day. Because her husband's a predator. Yeah.
Wait, Nicki Minaj is married?
Exactly. No, she's married, and she's married to a predator. So, canceled. We're Team Megan Thee Stallion all the way.
Speaking of people who, no idea, can we talk about the YouTube drama going on right now?
Oh, yes!
Joey Graceffa's ex-boyfriend deadass came for Connor Franta, and Connor Franta clapped him the fuck back.
Right, Connor ate and left no crumbs. He said, "You're irrelevant, you're stupid, you're only someone because of your boyfriend, ex-boyfriend."
The great Connor Franta, "If my crime is being boring, then your crime is being nothing."
And honestly, he ate
him. Oh my god.
And it's true too, at least Connor's someone.
If I was Daniel, whatever his last name is.
Exactly.
I would never show my face again.
Right, I would log off the internet permanently and whatever. And of course, after all this drama, Joey Graceffa has a little bit of fame again because no one's really talked about him for a long time. So now he's starting to stream on TikTok and bounce off all that still.
Well, didn't he go after his last breakup with Daniel, what's his name? He's doing I know this because I follow him on Instagram. He does 6 months in London, 6 months in LA.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was really doing any content creation.
No, I don't think so either. I think
what this came from was he was starting a new YouTube series.
Oh,
because he was recording that with Daniel and it looks like a set, not a nice set, but that nice white backdrop and whatever.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, how are you, Paul?
I'm good. It was a good week. I do have something that has been weighing on my mind, though. Something that I need to address, not only for me, but for the people. And it's just something that needs to be talked about. I need to talk about the McChicken versus the McCrispy.
Oh my god, okay.
Because the McCrispy, it's fake. It's trying to be something it's not. It's trying so hard to be that Chick-fil-A sandwich, okay? It's trying so hard. But the McChicken knows who she is. She's that OG girl. She's that budget chicken sandwich. She's good, she's reliable, and she's not pretending to be something she's not.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
I prefer the McCrispy because that's a real chicken breast. That's a real piece of chicken, whereas the McChicken, it tastes like that chicken patty from, when we were in high school, the school lunch chicken patty.
Okay, low-key loved that, though. When it was chicken patty day, my pussy was popping.
First of all, my school, every day was chicken patty day.
What do you mean?
So, we did have, the food was not good, but we had a pretty sick setup. So, you had the main line, where they had the special of the day. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't want that, they always had either chicken patties or cheeseburgers.
Okay.
But it was the ones that you mass produced and I think they microwaved them, honestly, based on how they tasted.
Oh, probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
But then you had the pizza line where they had cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza, or a special pizza of the day. Mm-hmm. And then they had the salad and sandwich line.
Y'all had multiple lines? My cafeteria, we had one line, and you had two choices.
My school was desperately trying to be bougier than it was.
Ooh.
Like, they were like, look, 3 lunch lines, specials. Meanwhile, we're having, like, smiley fry soup, which was chicken noodle stock with smiley fries. And it was always the end of the month when they were cleaning out the freezers.
Well, your school sounds a lot like the McCrispy then, trying so hard to be that gourmet chicken sandwich that it just isn't.
Do you know what is gourmet, though?
What?
We finally figured out what ham sliders are.
Yes!
And we made them.
If you're a real fan of the cork, if you're a real Corky, if you listen to our entire sandwich, you'd know...
Our entire sandwich?
Yes! No, if you listen to our entire episodes, front to end, you'd know at the end we have little treats and surprises for you guys. And you'd get the ham slider reference. And today, we have ham sliders on the pod, so we're snacking on some ham sliders. And moving on from the ham sliders, it's that time of the month, y'all! We're leaving April, going into May, and we got a new hot guy of the month.
I love May. May is such a gay month.
I know, it's so iconic. Springtime.
Okay, who's our hot guy of the month?
So, our hot guy of the month this month is a hardworking girl. I guess you could say she's a single mom who works too hard and never stops. Just in time for Mother's Day, we have the one, the only, Reba McEntire! But I am so excited to have Reba McEntire. I have started learning so much about her, and her history is so interesting. First of all, Homegirl was born in 1955, right? And she grew up on a ranch in Oklahoma. And so her father was a professional steer roper, and he was actually a 3-time world champion steer roper.
Really? What's a steer?
Like a cow or a bull.
Oh, I love cows.
Yeah, like roping bulls and things. Her father was a world champion in that, and her mom was a singer. So, like, on the way to the rodeos and stuff, like, her mom would actually teach her and her siblings, like, how to sing and how to harmonize in these long car rides to these rodeos. And actually, fun fact, Reba actually wanted to be, like, a world-class, like, barrel racer and do rodeos and things and be like her dad.
Racer?
So it's the horses. You race the horses around the barrels, and whoever does it quickest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she wanted to be a world champion barrel racer, but then she was bad at it, so she switched to singing, and here we are today. And
I ain't good at the barrel race, so I'm gonna do something easy and become a world's famous superstar.
Exactly. It's funny too, like, from a young, her and her siblings actually formed a band called the Traveling McEntires. Oh. So she was like traveling music just like around with her siblings before she got discovered. Right. And she actually got discovered a little bit after she got out of high school. She started her real music career in the 70s, but really didn't have her first #1 single until the early 80s.
Yeah, because like I think of Reba, I think like 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Even early 2000s.
And I'll leave it there for now because there's so much to talk about with Reba. She is so iconic. I will say, she's been in the game for a long time, and I appreciate that. She's been grinding since the 70s, girl. She's been up in the gig, and I love that for her. And I was actually watching an interview she did with Drew Barrymore, I think she did it like 2 months ago, and she looks so good for her age. She's 69 right now. She looks so good for her age. She's so beautiful. And I know there's a joke there, yeah, 69, haha, but she looks good for her age, bitch. So, this month we're getting into Reba, more to come with that.
Awesome, I'm so excited.
Me too.
Well, folks, this is the first episode of our new format where Paul and I switch off topics every week.
Right.
Excuse me, that ham slider came back to bite me. But Paul will be Yes, Paul will be recording. We both will be. Paul will be presenting. So, Paul, shall we drink?
Yes, let's get into our paranormal pairing. So today, we have the unoaked Chardonnay from the winery Zolo. spelled Zollo.
Ooh, I love looking at houses on their website.
Shut up!
I like being over there. There's so many more opportunities for jokes.
Oh yeah, there very much are. So, our Chardonnay grapes are carefully selected from our own vineyards. Located at 1,000 meters above sea level, the combination of warm, sunny days and cold nights make our vineyard ideal for creating wines with excellent maturity and perfect balance. This fruit-focused Chardonnay has an attractive color with aromas of tropical fruit, apples, and peaches. And we love a good peach on this podcast. So let's crack her open. Oh,
That was a nice crack.
yes, God. Quiet on set for the ASMR tour. Pour.
Get it together, Paul.
Thank you. This one smells really good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Alrighty, cheers.
Buttery.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's a good Chardonnay, Zolo.
See, I was a little
Period.
concerned when it said on oaked because I was like, I like an oaky Chardonnay.
I don't know what oaky means. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Like, you know how like a normal Chardonnay has that like earthy taste to it?
Oh.
That's from the oak barrels.
Well, this one's really good. It's really fruity.
Did you say it's kept in steel barrels?
Let me double.
It's fermented. Or am I imagining that?
I don't see anything about the steel barrels.
Okay.
No, but either way, it's really good. Right amount of dryness got me up in the gig. Okay, this wine. Get into it. Buy it for a nice summer day, girl. And summer's coming on.
How many grapes
up.
do you give it?
Ooh, how many grapes? Let me give it another sip. I'm giving this one 5 grapes. It's an amazing wine. This is really good. You did a really good job, Solo Winery. I very much appreciate this wine.
I'm gonna give it 4 3/4.
Ooh, what knocked it down a peg for you?
I miss the oakiness.
Oh, you like a good oaky.
I like an oaky Chardonnay.
Okay, I got you. Well, with that, kids, grab your ham sliders, grab your wine, and DJ, let me tell you a story. Here we go again. It's allergy season, and you have those sniffles, the red itchy eyes, the whole shebang. So it's time for your go-to medicine. Claritin. Not sponsored. You go to your medicine cabinet, rifle around a little bit, and your heart sinks. Oh no, you won't be Claritin clear today. You frantically look at the time. 11:03 p.m. All the drugstores just closed. You have no choice. You have to go with your last option. Benadryl. You take the pills out and stare at them a moment, contemplating if it's worth it. You have that big meeting tomorrow with the head of your company, and you have to get some good sleep. Diane from accounting has been on your ass, and you can't mess this up. So you say a quick prayer and reluctantly take 2 Benadryl. It doesn't take long for the drowsiness to set in, and you are off to bed. You lay down and pass out almost immediately. You have no choice but to succumb to the Benadryl's effects. Hours later, you are awoken and look around. You try to get up, but to your terror, you can't move. No, this can't be happening. Not again. Immediately, the terror sets in, and you try with all your power to move, but you can't. Your body feels like it's filled with sand and rocks. Then you see it in the corner of your eye. You knew this was coming. You never should have taken the Benadryl. As you struggle, a single tear runs down your cheek. You see the figure of the silhouette of the dark man with the brimmed hat, and you know what this means. The figure starts moving closer and closer to you. Your heart is pounding out of your chest. The tears are coming out quicker now. If you could move your body, you'd be trembling. The figure finally reaches your bed, and you don't know what you're going to do. All you can see is the darkness he consists of and the abyss that is the shadow figure. The figure leans down to you. He gets closer to your face and whispers, "You've been avoiding me, Carl. Where's my $32.95 plus shipping, Carl?" Today, we will be discussing the Hat Man.
Jesus, that was some creepy... Like, you wrote an entire creepypasta.
Thank you. I did my best.
You didn't write an intro. You wrote a creepypasta.
It really just came from inside, you know? You know, at home, listening to this, you won't have to hear, like, how many takes that took me to do because I couldn't stop myself from laughing during it. It was so much fun to write that and perform it. And yes, I'm going to say perform because I'm a performer, so
yes,
get into it.
Oh my God.
So, DJ, do you know anything about the Hat Man? Have you heard of him?
I have heard of him.
Ooh, do you have, like, any stories? Have you experienced him?
No, because I don't take Benadryl.
Okay, cool. Well, for those of you at home who may not know, the Hat Man is a ghost-like entity that is seen as a shadow-like person, typically wearing a trench coat. I've even heard some people describe it saying he might be wearing like a suit or whatever. And what really sets this person, like the Hat Man, apart from other just shadow people is the wide-brimmed fedora hat that he is always seen in.
Okay, is he always seen in a fedora? Because I've heard some people say like top hat.
Yeah, I've heard different things. The most I've seen is fedora, but I have
for some reason whenever I imagine him like in a Doug Dimmadome hat.
Oh my God, not the Doug Dimmadome hat.
Okay, but like, you know, like the Arby's logo, like where it's like weirdly tall.
Yes.
Like I mentioned that, and it makes it so much scarier to me.
Well, the thing about the Hat Man's hat that makes it pronounced is the wide brim, because everyone who says they've experienced or has an experience with the Hat Man say that the hat has a really wide brim on it.
Maybe he's Amish.
Maybe. Who knows? But there's plenty
Jebediah!
Jebediah!
How dare you don't come back from your Rumspringa!
Oh my God, not Rumspringa.
Yes, the Rumspringa.
Yep, these people are being haunted by Amish men in wide brim hats. How dare you take that modern medicine? You'll pay for this? When will you learn? Okay.
That reminds me of the most unhinged cold open for our next episode.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, please tell me more about the Hat Man.
Most sightings of the Hat Man occur when an individual is experiencing sleep paralysis. So, episodes of sleep paralysis involve not being able to speak or move while falling asleep or upon waking up. This usually lasts about 1 or 2 minutes, and it is often a very frightening experience, as you can imagine, because you wake up and you like can't move or whatever, and you're just like foggy brain and like you don't know what's going on. So obviously that would induce fear in just about anyone, right? So I like to think of it as your brain wakes up before your body. And so...
Wait. Are you coming onto Our Believer podcast and trying to scientifically explain this away?
No. See, basically, think of it like this. So your brain is awake, so you're fully awake and alert, right? But your body can't move. So you have all your senses about you and things when people have these experiences.
Sleep paralysis.
Now, we'll get into later in the theories when people the argument against this and why they try and debunk the Hat Man. We'll get into that in the theories.
The Hat Man is a devil who is sitting on my chest, and that is why I can't move.
Ooh, sounds kind of hot.
COVID was a conspiracy hoax between the demon and Democrats to stop my president, Donald J. Trump, from his crusade to make America a God-fearing nation. My name is Karen.
Oh my God. Conspiracy theory, Hat Man is a conservative. He had
It's a MAGA hat.
It's a MAGA hat. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. But I will also note there are plenty of experiences where the Hat Man also isn't there's like experiences basically where people aren't experiencing sleep paralysis and they do see and witness the Hat Man.
Okay, I have heard stories of people who are like going about their daily lives and they see him.
Exactly.
In daylight too.
Exactly. And I've even come across, which we'll get into a story later, where someone actually has the Hat Man speak to them.
No!
Yeah. And that's really what sets the Hat Man apart from all the other shadow people, is that he always has the hat, and some people experience him like during the daytime. They experience them outside of sleep paralysis.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Has the Hat Man been seen since September 8th, 2022?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm sure he has, but I haven't heard any like...
I have a theory.
Yeah? Let's wait until theories, because there's a lot of theories.
Okay, I have a theory.
Let me get into this first story. So, our first story is about a girl named Sarah, who when she was about 6 years old, she lived in an old cottage with her parents. Now, the story says that the cottage was about 200 years old, so this gives plenty of like room for this like cottage to be creepy, spooky, haunted, whatever. So, one night there was a thunderstorm that awoke Sarah from her sleep. She tried to fall back asleep, but then she noticed something in the corner of her eye. She got a sudden cold chill, and her hair stood on end. She turned to her left and saw a tall, dark figure standing by her bed. She described it as wearing a Victorian-era cloak and a brimmed hat. She was frozen, not from sleep paralysis like other encounters, but from fear. And after staring at the Hat Man in fear for what felt like hours, she eventually drifted back to sleep. Which, how she drifted back to sleep with this dark figure like by her bed, like, I don't know how the fuck she did that.
Unless she passed out from terror.
Maybe. I just thought it was so weird. Like, in this story, she just, like, fell back asleep with the Hat Man still standing over her. I thought that was crazy.
Wait, it's not a corner stander?
What's a corner stander?
You know, like somebody who just stands in the corner and stares at you.
Well, isn't that basically what Hat Man does? He just, like, sits there and stares?
You were like, but you said, like, right over, and I was like, oh, fuck. I thought he was a corner stander.
No, I've never even heard
I made it up.
You made it up?
Yeah. Because you hear so many stories about, like, demons and, like, shadow people, like, standing in the corner. Corner stander.
Interesting.
But, like, if he's, like, right on top of you, fuck no.
We're gonna copyright that term, corner stander.
Corner stander.
Edward Cullen was a corner stander.
Edward Cullen was the original corner stander.
Get into it.
That I t-shirt.
Edward Cullen was the original corner stander. I'm here for it. So, moving on with her story. After she fell asleep, she slept the rest of the night, and she woke the next morning to nothing in her room. The Hat Man standing by her bed was gone. But then she noticed on her desk a plastic bag. And when she went to walk towards it, it shot in the air like something or someone had snatched it.
No.
She then ran out of the room and told her parents. The story ends there, except for the fact that many years later, Sarah found out about the Hat Man online and found out she wasn't alone in seeing the figure. Sarah found out that this figure often appears during stressful times or as a bad omen before something bad happens. And sure enough, at this point, her parents were going through a divorce, and a couple years later, her dad suddenly passed away. She feels like the Hat Man had put a curse on her, and she has the sinking feeling that the Hat Man is going to visit her again as a bad omen.
You shut your house mouth. Is that the end of the story?
That is the end of Sarah's story.
Is that the end of the episode? Can we talk about like puppies now?
No, there's a lot more.
I have like the ick meter. The ick meter is like off the charts. Like
right.
goose
Now,
pimples all over my body.
I do want to note that there are a lot of stories where nothing bad is going or associated with the Hat Man, and it really isn't seen as a bad omen. So it is important to note that some people do see the Hat Man as a bad omen, but also there's a big part of the community that does not see him
Like
as...
Mothman.
Exactly. So really, it's really up to your opinion.
But unlike the Hat Man, I would let the Mothman tap my ass.
What do you got against the Hat Man? He's a tall, slender man dressed all fancy.
Until I know that's not a MAGA hat, I ain't go near it.
Period. Truth. We have to confirm the Hat Man's political affiliation before we move forward. But moving forward, I have another story for you. So this next story is about a person. I'm going to call him Jared because there's no name in this story. So
Just spreading fake news.
Jared's father actually worked at a peanut processing plant, and that was common in their town because there were a lot of peanut farms where he grew up. So his father worked at the local peanut processing plant, right?
So Jared is actually President Jimmy Carter.
What?
Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer before he was president.
That's crazy. And it's crazy. How do you know that?
Everyone
Why do
knows
you know that? Like, why do you know this?
Because it's literally a fun fact.
Oh my god. So the father used to say that the plant was on haunted land and would often also say that the plant was on Native American burial ground. Now, the fathers would tell stories of a dark figure with a hat who they would occasionally see on the grounds around the plant, right? So, the night in question here, the kid and his mother go and visit the father at the plant. Now, Jared, he was being a bad boy, right? He was being like a bad kid. His mom was frustrated with him. So she was basically like, I can't handle this shit. We're going to go see your father and he's going to discipline you guys, okay?
Sorry, Daddy, I was a bad boy. Doug, this is confession. It's forgive me, Father, I have sinned.
Oh my god, it's not even that. He was like 12 and he was being a bad kid and his mom like didn't want to discipline him. So he's like, we're going to take you to the peanut plant. Your father's going to handle this, right? Exactly. So the mom piles all the kids into the car and they go.
How many kids?
I think there were 3 of them.
Oh.
Yeah. So she piles the kids in the car. They go see their dad at the peanut plant. So the father comes out. And keep in mind, they're in the country, so it's really dark where they are, right? And it's only illuminated by a blue security light from the factory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the dad comes out, and he's disciplining the kid. He's like, God damn it! I'm trying to work and get my job done, and you're out here, and I gotta discipline you, blah, 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 blah. So he's out there and disciplining the kid. And then in the distance, they see him. They see the shadow person, right? Mm-hmm. They see the Hat Man. Mm-hmm. They see his hat. He's might be wearing a suit. They can't really tell from his silhouette. And as he's disciplining him, the father says to the kid, do you want to go over there and be with him? Do you want to keep being a bad boy and do you want to go be with him? And the kid's obviously like freaked out by this. He's like, no. Because you see that it's a dark figure in the distance. Looks like basically a shadow. And your father's like, do you want to go be with him?
No.
And then the father calls out, hey, you want him? And then the figure replies, yes, bring him to me.
Stop!
Yes!
No! Oh my god! Oh no, I'm so scared right now, I can't even.
Yeah. And at this point, the kid starts crying and trembling.
I'm about to cry and tremble.
The father's made his point, and he throws the kid in the car and turns around, and the figure is gone. Now, the kid obviously, like, huddles with his brother, because the people in the car saw this man, too. Like, the mom and the siblings saw the car, like, the figure in the distance, too. So they're, like, huddled together and not looking, and the mother says something to the dad, and they get in the car and drive off. Now, and to this day, they never drive by the plant without ducking and not looking at it, because they never want to see the dark figure with the brim hat ever again.
The ick meter. is off the charts.
Right. So a few interesting things about this encounter is that they're outside, multiple people are seeing the Hat Man, and he actually calls out to them. Now, I guess there could be something to say, like, was it the Hat Man? I think so.
I am so tense with fear, I have abs.
Shut up!
That really freaked me out. It talked.
Oh yeah, he said, bring me the kid. And also, what is this father doing? Like, he's like, you want my kid? Come here and take it. This father honestly sounds crazy. Like, what was he doing? Like, I would love to know the thought process of the father. Like, and you know what?
Come on, Jimmy Carter. I expected more of you.
Maybe it worked. I bet the kid never acted up again. I bet that scarred him. Now, I will note, we do not condone child abuse on the pod.
No.
But I bet that kid was scarred. Well, obviously he was scarred. Like, he can't even look out the window at the factory anymore when they drive by it. Like,
that boy is now like a 50-year-old man with children of his own. Mm-hmm. And I bet you he still does not drive past that factory.
Probably not. Like, and when you're that age, something that scars you that deeply, that shit lives with you. Now, I will also note that the person who said this story did give a disclaimer that their father is not abusive, they have a good relationship now, and everything's cool. Like,
so maybe he wasn't like, when we like disciplining, maybe he was like yelling, but not beating, like we were saying.
Yeah, and also these are like secondhand stories from Reddit. Like, the stories go on Reddit, and then the YouTubers like make videos of them. So like, who knows?
What else am I going to talk about while I do my makeup tutorial?
You're just putting on blush and you're like, anyway, death and decay.
Anyway, so I'm using Lancome's Miss Your Big mascara. And then, so yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer's like boiling his head.
Okay.
The visual. We missed the visual of me like pretending to put mascara on.
Okay, the true crime girlies would love that. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so
they would pop off.
There are like, I watched one where somebody was talking about, they were talking about Bonnie and Clyde, and she was doing her makeup. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I hate the get ready with me's. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, get ready with me, and they don't talk about what they're using, and they just go like, yeah, I have to go to the grocery store today, and I hate the grocery store because there's this one checkout lady who always gives me the stink eye, and I don't know whether it's because she knows I'm gay or what.
I think I saw that video.
I just made it up.
Oh! That just shows how accurate your depiction was.
But it's like, don't talk about your boring ass day. Talk about murder and mayhem if you're not going to talk about what products you're using.
Exactly.
Because I actually enjoy watching makeup videos, and I love like how I got into them, like before I worked in the cosmetics field as a makeup artist. The very first makeup video I watched was a Princess Diana makeup tutorial, and it was with Princess Diana's actual makeup artist. She was like describing what she was doing, what she was using, and then she'd intersplice with stories like, oh, like the princess and I would talk about this while I did her makeup, or like this is what it was like knowing her, which is so much more enjoyable than, yeah, I have to go to the grocery store, I need to get milk and eggs, but I only get oat milk, and I only get the brown eggs because the brown eggs taste different from the white eggs.
See, I love that. Makeup with a story. Like, I would so watch videos where, like, someone was doing their makeup and was doing an interesting story like
Not, I need to go to the grocery store, this is what I'm doing today.
Right, if I wanted to watch that, I would watch Jake Weber's videos, or... That wasn't a read on Jake Weber. I love his videos.
I know, and it's so different because, like, in the heyday of YouTube, I loved watching vlogs where it was just like, here's our normal day.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
But here's the thing, they took us along with it. And here's the thing, you either show me, don't tell me. Mm-hmm. Which, when I was a manager, I always said that, like, don't tell me what you're going to do, show me.
Right, exactly. That's how you learn more. Like, that's how you learn better.
Anyways, more Hatman stories.
Yes, let's get into our next Hatman story. So, one night in late 2010, a girl was laying on her bed, doodling in her sketchbook. It was about 11 o'clock and she was getting tired, so she decided to go to sleep. So she went to turn out the light. Now, one thing to note about her room is that she lived next to a woman's reformatory, and there was like a soft light that came in through the window that would always like slightly illuminate her room. The girl turned out her light, but it was still like a little illuminated with some shadows and things from the soft light that would come into her room. And she went into bed, put on the covers, and then fell asleep. Pretty normal night, yeah?
Yeah.
Then around 2 or 3 a.m., she woke up and was just kind of laying there staring at the shadows on her ceiling created by the dim light. Then she got this sudden feeling that something was not right. She turned to face the window, and there standing next to her window was a featureless shadow figure with broad shoulders that appeared to be wearing a suit and a wide-brimmed hat. She quickly pulled the cover over her head and sat there for what felt like an hour, slowly breathing and listening for movement. After that long period of time, she finally built up the courage to throw the covers off quickly and turn on the light. When she did this, she noticed the Hat Man had disappeared. This was the only time she ever saw the Hat Man, and she ponders this encounter often. After years of pondering, she has come to terms with the encounter. She doesn't see it as a bad thing that she encountered the Hat Man. Nowadays, she views it as something that made her who she is and opened her up to the paranormal. She often wonders, maybe the Hat Man isn't a bad guy, but a good entity we view in a negative light because we don't understand him.
I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
See, I liked this person's perspective a lot because this, piqued her interest into the paranormal, and maybe,
That's great. The ick meter is still off the charts.
see, these, crazy things that happen in our lives that define who we are and, change our perspective, because, who knows, maybe if this girl didn't have this experience, maybe she'd never get into the paranormal or anything and wouldn't have, experiences she might not have had if she hadn't met the Hat Man.
I want Robert Pattinson to get the fuck out of my bedroom while I'm sleeping.
Oh my god. I know that's not true.
Edward Cullen, however, book Edward Cullen, the idea in my mind.
Oh my god. I mean, I thought Robert Pattinson was cute. I think he's cute.
He is very cute.
I think he's fine. He could get it for sure. But yeah, this story was just interesting because she saw this experience in a positive light later, and this was a defining moment in her life that made her believe in the paranormal. And I thought that was really cool and a really interesting perspective rather than just being scared of it and being why, you know?
Yeah. Still the ick meter.
Speaking of which,
Copyright. Ick meter. Crips and Corks LLC.
Speaking of life-defining Hat Man experiences, our next person, our final story, is really interesting because he actually had an experience with Hat Man that changed his life forever. So, the next story comes from the hatmanproject.gov.
What? You're joking.
No, I'm fucking with you. It's .com.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine if it was .gov?
I could say .org.
The government's in charge of the Hat Man.
Oh my god.
So this site is run by Timothy M. Brown Jr., and he uses the site to collect stories of the Hat Man, and he's actually now putting out a book called The Hat Man, His Identity Revealed. He thinks he has accumulated enough stories and enough experiences from the Hat Man that he knows the Hat Man's true identity. In his book, he's gonna tell the world who the Hat Man really is. On the website, it said the book was due to be released in January of 2024. So I imagine within the next few months, hopefully we'll get this book.
Oh my god.
So,
if it was supposed to be released, we should have this book.
Yeah, I'm sure the book will come out soon. So be sure to go check out this website, go check out the book if it's out, and support Timothy. And if you have stories, go to thehatmanproject.com and submit your story there. But today, I'm going to tell you about Timothy, the owner of the website's encounter with the Hat Man that changed his life forever. When Timmy was 14, he was staying at his grandmother's house. And he had stayed up super late one night. It was about 2 a.m. and he was getting really tired. So he started dozing off and falling asleep. He was closing his eyes when he heard a noise that made him open his eyes super quick. And he saw something out of the corner of his eyes. Because when he opened his eyes, he was looking in one direction of the room. And when he opened them wider, he could see more of like the peripheral vision. And when he opened his eyes wider, he saw something out of the corner of his eye. And then he saw it. It was a tall, dark, human-like figure that had no discernible facial features. He was like a shadow, but much darker. Timothy could make out a trench coat that flowed as he moved, and a large brimmed hat. Timothy was froze in trying to think of what to do while the figure stared at him for what seemed like an eternity. Then eventually the figure moved out of his room into the hallway. Now, from Timmy's room, he could see into his grandmother's room, and his grandmother's door was open, so he could see the shadow figure move into the hallway and look into his grandmother's room. He only looked into his grandmother's room for a little bit and then moved out of the hallway and out of view. Then Timothy finally had the courage to scream, which woke up his grandmother. So Timothy told his grandmother everything that happened, and to Timothy's shock, he wasn't the only one who experienced this in that house. Apparently, his grandmother and even great-grandmother had also experienced this man in the house. So after this experience, and as the years passed, Timothy kind of brushed this experience off and didn't think of it much. He didn't see the Hat Man again, so kind of just like went to the wayside. He was only 14, had a lot of life to live. But later, this would come back up in his life in a big way. He was listening to the radio and heard them talking about shadow people, and in particular, a shadow being with a large brimmed hat. This sent chills down Timothy's spine, realizing he wasn't alone in his experience. So he started doing all the research he could after this, and eventually he started the Hat Man Project, a website where people can submit their Hat Man stories, find community, and just not feel so alone in having seen the Hat Man and the experiences. Just something where you don't have to feel crazy and you're not alone for seeing the Hat Man. Go check out the hatmanproject.com, not .gov, as I was joking about earlier.
I did. While you were telling that story, I did check it out a little bit.
There's so many interesting stories on there. And if you want more Hat Man stories, they're all over Reddit. There's so many Reddit forums about the Hat Man. And all the stories are very similar. Do you have any thoughts about the Hat Man so far? Thoughts about the stories?
Because the ick meter is off the charts.
The Hat Man is creepy. Like, I would be so creeped out if I woke up and there was the Hat Man just there staring at me. Oh, spooky. Now, if you want more stories, obviously there's so many stories all over the internet. So go check out more stories on Reddit, thehatmanproject.com. And let's move into some theories. Let's talk about what the Hat Man might be, who he might be, like what's going on.
Yes, I have a theory for the end.
So our first theory is he's just a figment of our imagination.
Boo.
Right? So since most people experience the Hat Man during sleep paralysis, some people think this is a trick of the brain. Since you are in a state that you are half asleep and not fully awake, which I don't know if you are half asleep, like I said before, because like you're awake enough to feel fear and things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you're like half awake or impaired at that moment, like mentally. I know your body is, but mentally, I'm not too sure. And some skeptics think it's just a figment of the brain, but people argue, then why do so many people see the same figure then?
Yes. And like a lot of these stories they're seeing like I can see like if like you and I, we just discussed the Hat Man and we take Benadryl tonight. before bed, and we see him. That makes sense because we know about him. But so many of these stories are, I've never heard about this before, and I saw it.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, I get like the whole like idea of like universal consciousness, but like that's a little too specific.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think it's a figment of people's imagination because even like I just said some stories where people like were fully awake. Like these people were out in public, like outside of a factory, and they saw the Hat Man. Like,
also, if you like this topic, Two Girls, One Ghost has a wonderful episode on it. The Hat Man.
Oh, next theory? You ready for the next theory?
Oh no,
you're just saying it's called the Hat Man. Their episode.
No, I was gonna say something, and one of the stories they told was like a woman who was like on her front porch, I think. It's one of their early stories. It's been a while since I've heard it. But she was like on her porch and she saw him in daylight, like hiding behind a bush.
See, that's crazy.
And it's like she was fully awake on her porch in daylight.
And you usually do not see shadow people in daylight.
No.
And usually shadow people, when people normally see shadow people, it's just like quick things, like a quick shadow movement,
There's a shadow person in my grandparents' living room.
Iconic.
I told you about it when you stayed over that one.
I remember this story. We'll have to do an episode on shadow people in general.
Yes.
And then you can tell your story about the shadow person in your grandparents' room.
Yes.
For now, I have another theory for you.
Lay it on me.
Some people think the Hat Man might be a demon. People think that since the Hat Man sometimes brings about intense fear when he visits, that this must be a demon. Also, the story of the Hat Man wanting to, like, abduct the child. Remember at the peanut plant where the father's like, do you want this kid? And he's like, yes, bring me the kid. And God knows what he was going to do with that kid. And also, like, the Hat Man hasn't brought any physical harm to anyone that I have noticed. Exactly, yet. He still could. Maybe he just doesn't have enough energy for it. Maybe the Hat Man is, like, just waiting to build up enough energy, and then he's going to strike.
I mean, since he's a meme, I kind of feel like, how can he not have the energy?
Right, exactly. He's on millions of people's, like, thoughts and brains. Like, many millions of people, energy is going towards him.
What if it's the inventor of Benadryl?
Oh my gosh. We're going to get to the Benadryl in a second.
Okay.
I'm sure the people are on their edge of the seats wondering why I keep talking about Benadryl. We'll get to it in a second. But I also want to bring up just the thought that people associate him with bad times and like a harbinger of not doom, but just like a bad omen, right? Which many demons are thought to be. So that is another reason why people think he might be a demon, is because some people see him as a bad omen and bringing bad luck.
I saw the Hat Man the night before they declared Joe Biden was the winner of the presidency.
Oh my God.
Hi, my name's Karen, and I voted for Donald Trump 4 times.
Stupid.
I voted for him twice in 2016 when my dead husband Earl was too dead to go vote.
That's crazy. So, along the same lines as that, another theory is that the Hat Man's a very powerful ghost. Some people think that the Hat Man might be a powerful ghost who was a powerful person in their past life. So when they died with a lot of energy about them. They had a lot of, like, I don't know, there was charisma, wealth, talent, whatever. People think he might have been a person who was very powerful in life and then died and is stuck in between heaven and hell, wandering the earthly plane.
Purgatory.
Yeah, purgatory, basically. Just trying to complete some sort of mission or something, and is trying to communicate or, like, see something with people, but can't quite yet. And he's, like, building up the energy to really do what he needs to do so he can move forward into the next life. And I think he's really probably getting close to that energy because, like, so many people see him, like we said before, so many people are giving him energy. He's on millions of people's minds.
I wonder, because do you know what that theory, and then some of the pictures, because I looked up, like, Hat Man book, and, like, a bunch of drawings came up, and it's giving very Jeepers Creepers.
You know what? I do see that now that you say that.
Like, the picture, like, I saw the picture, like, the long coat, the wide-brimmed, like, cowboy hat. Like, it's not like a cowboy hat like what we think of as a cowboy hat, but like actual cowboys wore those very low hats with wide brims because of the sun.
Yeah, yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, ooh, that's a little too Jeepers Creepers for me.
Okay.
And then that theory you told me was just like, I don't know, just like harvesting energy for strength. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, because like fear brings out a lot of energy, so maybe him just like visiting these people and just maybe he's just harvesting the fear energy from these people that he visits. But let's move into a little bit lighter of a theory.
Okay.
Some people think he might be an interdimensional traveler. Some people think the Hat Man might be an interdimensional traveler able to move between dimensions or planes of existence. A traveler who is observing people from our dimension. The moments people see him are moments when his dimension is a part of ours for just a little bit. So
like
maybe he's like someone on another dimension gathering information about us or trying to communicate something to us, something like that. Because I am someone who believes in other dimensions and people or entities who are just on different frequencies than we are. I like to think of it as like radio stations, like you know how like different stations exist on different channels and you can flip between the channels.
Because there are too many like the whole theory of like when we come to a moment of decision, our dimension breaks off. Like, have you ever heard this theory? Like when we come to points of decision, it breaks off into like you can choose A or B, and it's like there's two more dimensions where it's like one where you chose A, one where you chose B, and it's just like constantly like spidering out.
I've never thought of it like that before. That's such an interesting thought. I've never thought of it like that.
There's just been too many moments in my life where I chose something and I can't deal with the idea that there's another dimension where I chose the other one.
Oh. Well, then at that point...
What's the next theory?
Okay.
Paul, this is literally... We're recording this on the anniversary of my mother's death. I cannot get into this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So...
There's a secret pocket in this sweatshirt you gave me.
Period.
What the? Ooh.
So, something I literally just thought of while I was reading these stories and stuff is, what about the men in black? They often come in suits. They have the hats. Do you think the men in black might have a connection to the Hat Man?
Maybe, but here's the thing. The men in black, they wore... Well, okay. Their clothes were often described as being, like, out of date. And, I mean, nobody wears hats with suits anymore. So that could be.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know. I didn't read too much into the theories that the Hat Man might be something extraterrestrial. But, hey, I mean, the men in black are often associated with aliens.
Yeah.
And do bear resemblance to the Hat Man.
What if Hatman was an extraterrestrial?
Exactly. Maybe.
And like what we think as a hat is actually like some kind of helmet.
Right. That could be something. There's just so many things the Hat Man could be in theories.
Do you have another theory?
I do. I have our finale theory.
Okay.
The moment everyone's been waiting for. Let's talk about Benadryl.
Okay.
So, disclaimer. We do not condone the abuse of medications. This can lead to harmful side effects and even death. Do not take Benadryl to try and see the Hat Man.
Wait, are you going to tell me there's like a Hatman/Benadryl game?
Yes. There is the Benadryl challenge that people take large amounts of Benadryl to see the Hat Man. And
how large?
Someone actually... I'm not going to give you dose amounts because we don't want people to try this at home. Do not take Benadryl to try and see the Hat Man. Do not do the Benadryl challenge because someone actually died doing the Benadryl challenge.
This is like that little girl who got killed by the sturgeon in Ogopogo.
Yeah. But the basis of this challenge is you take enough Benadryl so you hallucinate. When taken in higher amounts, Benadryl can cause intense hallucinations. And during this, people see the Hat Man. So this theory basically says that the Hat Man was just a drug hallucination that got into the mainstream and became a mainstream thing, and then all of the stories started popping out. So this theory is that the Hat Man is a drug hallucination that got into the mainstream and turned paranormal.
Okay.
Again, do not take Benadryl to try and see the Hat Man. It's fun to joke about, but not fun to do. And rest in peace to that poor kid who died.
Just do something normal, like the cinnamon challenge.
Right.
No, don't do that. I'm joking.
The cinnamon challenge
for legal
was
reasons.
awful.
For legal reasons, that is a joke.
So, after hearing the stories and theories, what do you think?
I have a theory.
Okay.
Have any instances of the Hat Man been cited after September 8th, 2022?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could the Hat Man have looked like this?
Girl, shut the fuck up! For those at home, he just showed me a picture of that queen who died.
What if the Hat Man isn't a man at all? What if the Hat Man is a woman? Because the Hat Man was Queen Elizabeth II. And now nobody sees it anymore because she has achieved it and ascended to a higher astral plane.
Okay, I'm kind of living.
You thought I was just making a joke. I had a fully formed theory
that the Hat Man is Queen Elizabeth, and when she died, she no longer has to stand in the corner of people's rooms.
Exactly, like Queen by day, interdimensional manifestation at night. Like, she was just like...
Girl, that's crazy, but I love it. That's so funny.
I need the receipts, Paul. I need to prove this. Maybe Timothy M. Chalamet, whatever you said his name was, maybe that's what he figured out. And King Charles is trying to keep it under wraps.
Oh my god.
And that's why it's not out yet.
Tinfoil hat alert.
Where's Princess Kate? Okay, I'm done.
I'm calling the police.
I'm done.
Oh my gosh. I think the theory I
wrap it up.
Subscribe to the most is that it's like a powerful ghost or entity that's just like...
Yeah. No, me too.
Yeah.
Joking aside.
I think it's a powerful ghost or entity.
I hope to never meet him.
Me either. And to this day, I'll never take Benadryl again.
I never did, never will.
I owe the Hat Man so much money, so I can't take Benadryl anymore.
Not the $69.75 plus shipping and handling.
For those at home who don't know, there is a meme that's been going around for forever that says like, I can't take Benadryl anymore because I owe the Hat Man money, and I think that's the funniest thing. But let's wrap it up here. DJ, smash or pass the Hat Man?
Pass. I am so icked out by these stories.
Oh my god. I think I'm gonna smash.
I'm like sweating. Like, I'm so anxious by these stories. I am sweating.
I think I'm definitely gonna smash. Like, someone who cares that much enough about me to come into my room and watch me sleep. Oh my gosh, that's kind of attractive. Like, you care that much? Oh my god.
Ugh.
No, love the Hat Man. I loved researching the Hat Man. I think it's a really interesting story. Hey, if it's real or not, it's so much fun to go on Reddit, go online and read all the stories about the Hat Man. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if there were other entities mistaken for the Hat Man. Like, I believe the Hat Man is real, but, you know, the Hat Man's probably not the only ghost walking around here with, like, a hat or something. So I wouldn't
It could be the Ogopogo.
Maybe. The Ogopogo in a hat.
Yeah. Why not?
I wouldn't be surprised if there were some other entities out there who wear hats that got mistaken for the Hat Man. Also, side note, before we bounce on out, I want to say that the reason I chose... You can't see it at home because this is a podcast.
We'll put it in the Instagram dump.
Yeah, the Instagram dump. Go look at the bottle of wine because... The bottle of wine, this Zolo wine, has a picture of a man in a suit with a hat on, and he looks just like the Hat Man. So go check out our photo dump so you can see why I chose this bottle of wine for this episode. And I had so much fun researching this and telling the story and getting so into it. I am so excited for my next episode that I get to research.
I'm so icked out.
I love spooking DJ.
Paul's
it's
just
so
gonna
fun.
ick me out. With that, thank you for tuning in. Please, if you enjoy us, Share us with your friends, family members, co-workers, the random crackhead on the side of the street. Please follow us on all of our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Crips and Corks. You can find us on Twitter at Crips and Corks, or on Instagram or TikTok at Crips and Corks Pod. This is a little while after, but I mean, we just posted a really fun short TikTok horror film based on Saltburn in honor of Barry Keoghan, starring Paul.
Yeah, so go check that out.
On our TikTok and also an Instagram. Our Instagram and our Facebook is so vital to what we do because we do post pictures and we do post what wines we're drinking so you can see them because so much of it is really like the label. Also, if you have personal stories, whether about the Hatman or any other paranormal instances, or if you have episode suggestions, please email us at cripsandcorks@gmail.com. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me on my personal TikTok at Paulember, Paulember, and my personal Instagram at Paulember, Paulember. And as usual, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
And you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at TheRealDeejPowers. And if you're looking to hit me up in my DMs, you can find me on my Match.com account.
Oh, you can find me on Farmers Only.
Oh, not Farmers Only. Christians Mingle. And with that, I think that's all she wrote.
Sounds good.
So remember to keep your crips tight.
And your corks loose. Bye! Ugh!